A couple of months ago, I reviewed this custom-ordered G&L USA Legacy. I'll leave a link in the description. Now, when I ran across this Tribute Legacy, also in Fullerton red with a maple fingerboard, I decided it might be fun to see how it compares. Well, the first thing I noticed with these two examples is the weight difference. Now, the USA Legacy has an alder body and comes in at a fairly reasonable 8.3 pounds, whereas the Tribute is poplar and a little heftier at 8.7 pounds. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but you really feel the difference. The Tribute build quality is pretty good. I'd say at least on par or better than others at its price point. But as you might expect, it doesn't quite equal the perfection of the USA G&L. Now, I understand the USA models are now all plucked before they leave the factory. And as I said in my original review of this guitar, the playability is truly world class. This could easily be my main guitar. And the Tribute? Well, it's a fine player, but it did come out of the box needing a little work. Well, for starters, the neck was nearly backbowed, causing massive buzzing at the first fret. Thankfully, just loosening the rod fixed that problem. But then it was left with very high action, which I was also able to fix. Though compared to the USA Legacy, there isn't quite as much latitude there as I would hope for. It really required the perfect amount of relief to get the action down. Now, a shim would help, and I noticed the neck does sit a little higher on the USA model, so optimal adjustment is a bit more straightforward there. By the way, adjusting the action reminded me of another difference. The Fullerton-built model has the typical 9.5-inch radius, where the Tribute has a 12-inch fingerboard radius. I have no idea why, but there you go. Now, the neck profiles are very similar, though the nut width is different, at 1 11/16 inch for the USA model and a 1 5/8 inch for the Tribute. But remember, the USA is a build-to-order Legacy, and either nut width is available on the USA version. Now, the final thing I needed to address on the Tribute was the nut slotting, which, like so many guitars, was cut a bit too high. Now, regarding the pickups, I've read that only the models featuring the MFD pickups get the Fullerton units. But according to G&L specs, as well as those published on the G&L discussion page, this model still gets the USA CLF 100s, and they are very nice sounding pickups. Now, as far as I've been able to determine, the G&L designed hardware on the Tribute are not the USA made parts. This, along with the different woods, would explain why they don't sound identical. So my final thoughts. Well, again, about what you'd expect. The Indonesian-made Tribute is a solid, gig-worthy guitar. And if you don't mind doing or having a little work done, it can play and sound very nice. But the custom-build USA Legacy is in a different league, with a level of refinement not often seen on lower-cost Fender-style guitars. Now, once the Tribute is properly set up, not everyone is going to be sensitive to the difference, which explains why I've heard players say their Tribute is just as good. For me, it's a no-brainer. If I can afford the USA model, well, that's the one I'd choose. But if it's out of reach, or you can't feel enough difference to justify the cost, well, you can't go wrong with the Tribute. Well, thanks so much for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, I'm putting together a Patreon page for those who'd like to further support my efforts here. And I'll let you know when that goes live. And with that, I look forward to seeing you again next week.